Faceteer gang, what it do, man? It's your boy DeMarcus, and we're back here with another episode, man. Hopefully everybody's been doing well. Hopefully, given that it's a few months into the new year, that things have been moving steady for you. I don't know how it is for y'all, but usually when the new year happens for everyone, it doesn't actually happen for me. And when I say like the new year doesn't happen for me, and actually that'll be our topic for discussion today. That'll be our topic of discussion for today. I had a different topic that I wanted to discuss, but we're going to talk about that. For the new folks, welcome to the life of a multifacet. This is where I talk about the ins and outs of being a multifaceted individual, but also being someone where you may have been left out. You may have not been a part of the crowd. You are someone that's a visionary and a creative in your own right, and there wasn't really any spaces for you. Oftentimes, in how you show up, many people didn't take time or will put you on the back burner. This is a space for you. So if you haven't already, make sure that you follow me on social media. My Instagram page is that man Marco. My food page is Mashing Up with Marco. And then both of those are also the same names on TikTok, followed by YouTube, which is the multifacets of the market. So I'm going to be rolling out a bunch of content here soon. I got to get back into my editing bag, but I have a lot of things that I've been rolling out. My keloid videos, going to get back heavy onto the food content. Got a few dope things that I'm planning to do with the food side. And yeah, also with the I have some more creative content as well. So make sure you tap in with your boy, and yeah, just make sure that you rocking with the content. So I always appreciate everybody that's tapping in there. So yeah, when we think about for today's discussion in regards to the new year not necessarily being the new year for myself. Now I don't know how other people may go about it, but whenever January 1st hits, it takes me more time than the first to get into my flow and get into the swing of things. And I don't know if it's a subconscious thing because I heard this a while back with how things were in previous times, but um, let me go back because where did I get that article from where it talked about how the new year actually starts in on March? So New Year actually starts in March. So back in the Roman times, within the Roman calendar, technically the new year started in March. And over time, as when it comes to the different leap years, it's gotten to a point to where we've adopted kind of the new year is January 1st. Now, this is where I say as far as the subconscious mind, I don't know if it's a thing to where it's I don't know if it's a thing to where like I've seen that and have read up on it where like my mind is shifted to like, oh, okay, like because DeMarcus, you typically feel around like March or April when you lock in, like this is actually true. I don't know. But what I can say for myself is, especially as I've gotten older as an adult and I've been locked in with myself and focused on a lot of my different goals and have been working through just life as an adult, I have realized that when it comes around this March time, that things start to click more for me. Because whenever I'm going through my year, and especially when you're anticipating January coming because it's the beginning of the year, I'll prepare and get my goals and stuff ready for the year, but oftentimes I'm not really ready. Like how I set my goals from January 1st to what I'm going to accomplish later in the year, I'll still have those goals, but in how my body and how my mind is preparing for that moment, it never really happens within those first few months. Usually around this time, I would say mid March to early April is when I feel like, okay, now I'm getting into the swing of things. Also my birthday is April 14th. So it's not even because I would say my birthday's coming up, but oftentimes for me, like when I kind of slow down and I get into my rhythm, I feel like my rhythm happens always around this time. And even last year when I was going through a very tough season and navigating that, I realized like all the goals that I had for myself, like I was preparing and I was taking certain strides and how I was moving, but things didn't really start moving for me. Definitely on the weight side, I feel like when I was seeing my true results until around this time. And I don't know if it was because I had got my kilos removed, but then going through the healing process, like then that's when I started to evolve. Like um, when my recovery really hit was around like this time, early April. But usually around this time, as I've said multiple times since I picked up the mic tonight, is that this is the time where I feel things really start to move for me. And for this year in particular, like when it comes to my weight loss, I won't say that I fell off, but I switched the way in which I went about it. Last year, I got down really lean, so that was really dope for my discipline. But I really wanted to make sure that my muscles became full and I was able to get more tone, and I want to make sure that my body looked a certain type of way. So I ended up eating a bit more, started to take creatine, and I ended up picking up some weight in regards to like a lot of weight, water weight, and stuff like that. But I was working out just as hard, or even harder than I was early in the year. But I switched the way in which I was going about my diets, also like how I was consuming food, because beforehand, like I was like really heavy on the fasting, which I still do fast from time to time. But I think also in removing a lot of foods, I didn't realize like how many nutrients and things I could possibly be missing out on because I was so focused on cutting the weight. And now I'm working on sharpening that tool. Instead of just focusing on fasting to cut things down, or maybe eating less, it's more so eating the right foods, spacing out how much that I'm eating. Even if I do eat one time a day or if I do fast, not having to go as strict on it like I was. Now, there will be times where I do that just for myself and for my discipline, but I think also in me finding the discipline that I had to find for myself last year, it was me going like as hardcore as possible at certain points and me really building the discipline that I hadn't unlocked before. And also in those certain pieces, you learn different methods that you didn't implement previously. So when it came to the fasting, like oftentimes I would do my snake fast, I would do my dry fast, but I had to realize for myself I don't have to do it as aggressively. But also the reason why I was so so quick to go back to eating certain foods right after a fast is because I didn't have enough water. So oftentimes, me having that starvation period, the last thing that I'm thinking about is all the food that I had before. I'm getting the cravings for all the snacks and everything because I'm not having enough water in my system. I'm not having enough fiber. So I had to change certain methods, and I was doing that towards the end of the year as I was implementing my fast. But also, I gave myself a really nice period to just eat some of the foods that I want to and continue to work out while I was eating certain foods. And I'm saying all this to say that so for the end of the year last year, like me being able to land a new job and me being able to level up in that type of way, that was a big turning point for me because of the season that I had previously been in for being laid off for almost 2.5 years, right? So in that period, what I wanted to do was allow myself grace and just being able to experience that, and not from being reckless or going out here spending a lot of money, but me really being able to sit in it. Because oftentimes our minds can be stuck into survival mode. And when our minds are stuck in survival mode, oftentimes when we take a little bit of a break, when we switch things up, we feel as if we're falling off. And I had to even, that was a learning thing for me as well. It's like, DeMarcus, you're not falling off. You just have to adjust, and things may have adjusted. It's not like you sitting here, you losing all your progress and then you gaining tons of weight and you going into certain type of habits. No, but as the shifts come, you just have to adjust with that. And I say that to say that even for myself, when I was thinking about my goals and going into January, I had a lot of goals, but I was moving at the pace for my goals as the same way that I did in the previous years. But I can't move in that type of way because the way in which I was achieving certain goals, I'm not going to say it wasn't the smartest way, but I don't have to put as much pressure on myself now as I did before, because even in the growth that I've been able to enable within myself, it's not going to take as much effort because I've already been doing the groundwork. So oftentimes we look at it as like you're starting from ground one, when in reality you're not. You're actually starting from ground 20, 30, 50, 40, 50. Like you're starting from a different placeholder than what you had before. And that's me training my mind to say that. Oftentimes when I would pick up weight or get a water weight and stuff on me, I'm looking at it as like, man, I got to start all over. I'm gaining too much weight. But it's like, no, DeMarcus, when you were your most lean, you were destined to pick back up weight again, because when you eat food and then when you start implementing carbs and things into your body for your body to be more full, naturally your body's going to add water to it. When you have sodium, and naturally your body's going to add water to it. When I look at myself as lean as I was, like, I also was way more weak than I am now. Like I had strength on me, but as far as how much weight I'm able to push, as far as how my body is able to handle things, like being that lean because of fasting and everything, your body's not going to be able to hold on to that for a long period of time. So me being the most lean that I was, my body was needing to correct itself. And so where I'm at now, I've had to switch my mind to say, DeMarcus, you look great. Or you look really good, and you getting to great, it's only going to take a few more steps. Like me getting to a full look, but lean like I was, but bigger muscles, that's only a couple months away. As opposed to it before, it would have been maybe a year away, because I was just getting into that phase. I was just starting that process. And so oftentimes, like when we think about the time of the year when it starts, it can be that same thing. I'm like, man, because I didn't start at January 1 or February 1, sometimes in my mind, I'm like, man, I'm behind, da da da. Marcus, no, you're not, because you're not giving yourself credit for all the dope things that you did in the meantime. You still were going to events. You started a new gig. You've been killing it at the new gig. I'm about to close 6 or 7 deals at the new gig. And granted, I was out of work from the tech space for almost 2.5 years. I'm about to be on my 6th or 7th deal. And I'm doing it so smooth and with so much poise. And that's where oftentimes we don't give ourselves enough grace, because all the work that I put in during my toughest seasons, it makes seasons like this a lot more easy. It's not saying that it's going to be simple for you to be able to complete tasks, or it's going to be the easiest thing in the world, but it's going to be a lot easier than it was when you start from ground zero trying to figure things out. The poise that I have when I'm working is way different than it was from previous jobs. The way I handle calls, the way as far as me learning, like the stress that I would give myself before because I was in the wrong environments, it's night and day now. And even when I think about as far as from my brands, man, I sat there and was able to draft up over 300 something videos on my food Instagram, not even including my food TikTok, not even including my personal TikTok, not even including the YouTube videos that I've been putting out and the Instagram videos. But oftentimes when you hold yourself to such a high regard, you can feel as if, man, I'm behind. Bro, I've been sitting here. I've done for the last two plus months. I've did at least 1 to 3 videos on my Instagram food page every single day. Yeah, I've got maybe 10 or so followers, but I've been consistent every single day. Not counting the time that I took to go back to my archives and go back to my older videos and Snapchats and everything to even get all those videos. I found a method. My Instagram, my personal TikTok, this podcast gotten to over 50 episodes. Like, so oftentimes we can look at it as like, man, we got to start from the ground zero, and I'm not where I want to be. But oftentimes we can maybe be way further than we want us to be, but it's just about giving ourselves that credit and not feeling as if just because you didn't start off at a crazy speed at the beginning of the year that you were off. Because oftentimes some of those goals that we want to hit, we're not giving ourselves credit for the other things that we are doing that actually are dope goals. Bro, you got to 50 plus episodes. You about to be on like 55 episodes, DeMarcus. That's incredible. Not many people can continue a podcast, not because it's got to be something that's you put a crazy amount of time into. People ain't got the consistency matrix in their mind or in their body and their spirit. Well, they ain't got that in them. Let alone being able to do it on multiple platforms. So what I'm learning, what I'm actually doing for myself in this season is working on way less overthinking. It's going to be hard for you to fully remove overthinking, but for myself, I'm like, man, DeMarcus, you beat yourself up way too much. And that's always going to happen. Like it allows me to keep myself on edge and allows me to keep myself accountable to say, we got more work to do, but I don't have to do it anywhere close to the depth that I do. Because even like right now, like I got back and doing this episode today, this is the 21st of March. I'm doing this episode right now, right? And I've been in my head the last few months about, man, when I'm gonna get started, I ain't really been in my zone as much as far as for this. But I'm like, as far as my notebook, as far as writing down things from my day, what I'm gonna knock out, I'm like, Marcus, what are you talking about? I done had episodes scheduled out to pretty much where if I look at my Spotify right now, a week ago is when my most recent podcast was published. So it's been about a week. I still have 4 to 5 different episodes that I could put out that's going to give me even more time, not including these ones I'm about to do. But because I was able to have that consistent motion and be able to put in the work, it's like, hey, you ain't got to have as much pressure on yourself. But what happens is when you ain't been in that lane of consistency and discipline over a longer period of time or outside of like those small bursts of motivation, it feels different because it's training the mind to say, you know what, that survival mode that you used to, you handling it differently, but we still ain't got away from that yet. And that's what we're going to talk about in our next episode. We're going to talk about how I'm navigating survival mode, but then also how I'm working on giving myself that grace. So this is your boy DeMarcus. This is Life of a Multifacet. Check out my next episode on how I'm talking about how I'm navigating survival mode and things that I'm working on and learning at the age of 29, about to be 30 next month. It's your boy DeMarcus. Peace.